One can, if one reads the Life Divine and the Synthesis of Yoga, one can say you have attained, at least you have got access to the knowledge which is contained in the Veda. To come back again to that point as to why Veda was written in the way in which it was written, Sri Aurobindo's answer is that there was a time when the ordinary people were at a certain low level. In that, certain people could rise to that very great height, and they had a problem of communication to the people who did not understand the subtlest and the most complex ideas and the truths. Therefore, Sri Aurobindo says the language of the Veda is double-edged. It has one strand of meaning, but there is also behind it another deeper strand of meaning. And it is a deeper strand of meaning which Sri Aurobindo has brought out in his interpretation. And that deeper sense is psychological. I shall not dwell longer on this, but I shall just tell very briefly what is the content of that knowledge that the Veda really possesses. In a very brief manner, in a very ordinary manner, because to tell exactly what Vedic knowledge contains is actually to take individuals into states of consciousness which only yoga can take you. So to say in a very fruitful manner would be really to take us ourselves every day, long hours of meditation, long hours of small statements to be meditated upon, and gradually it should be manifested. That is the right method. But our present methods are all lecture systems in which you can't help it. You cannot say now we shall have 3 hours of meditation and we shall enter into it. In fact, if you read the Taittiriya Upanishad, the Vedic method has been taught. The disciple goes to the teacher and says, teach me. And he says, this whole world is matter. Meditate on it. And he meditates on it and says, yes, I have now realized the whole world is matter. Then teach me more. And the teacher says the whole world is prana, is breath. And he meditates and then comes back to the teacher and says, yes, I have now realized the whole world is breath. Then he says, now teach me more. And he says, all right, now I teach you more. What is the more? The whole world is mind. And then he says, I teach me more. And he says, yes, there is still, higher than the mind is the supermind. And vijnana. So that is idea of vijnana. The whole world is vijnana. Then meditate on it. And then he says, yes, now you go forward and the whole world is ananda. And therefore the last part of the Taittiriya Upanishad is ananda. The whole description is ananda. What is ananda? So this is the way of, the Vedic way of teaching, that you first of all give one formula, meditate on it, you realize it, then you go to the second one, then you go to the third one, then the fourth one, and gradually you rise up. This is exactly described actually in the Upanishad itself. It's not our story. Actually it is given. You can read the text, that this is how the disciple is taught by the teacher, and ultimately is taken to the level of ananda, the supreme levels of consciousness. That would be the right method of teaching the Veda, or to learn what is the teaching in the Veda. But to say it briefly, it is the following. It first of all says that there is, that is to say, if you rise to the highest levels of consciousness, and telescopically now, if you describe the world and the whole reality, it says, reality is one. Now this is a theory. In terms of theory, it can be contradicted because there are many pluralists today, dualists of various kinds. But the Vedic knowledge is that reality is one. ekam sat vipra bahuda vadanti. Or there is a famous statement of Indra to Agastya, nanunam asti noshvaha kastadveda yadadbhutam anyasa chittam abhisancharinyam utadhitam vinashyati. These two lines are, to my mind at least, supreme manifestation of the supreme revelation of the knowledge of the truth. Nanunam asti noshvaha. It is not here. That reality is not here. Nanunam asti noshvaha. It will not be tomorrow. If a reality is eternal, you can't say it is not here. It will be tomorrow. Even tomorrow it will not be. It is eternal. Then he says, kas tadveda yad adbhutam. Who knows it? Kas tadveda. Who knows it? Yad. Singular. You have to see. It's not many realities. It's yad. That reality, yad adbhutam. It is wonderful. Now this word wonderful is explained in the next sentence. Why is it wonderful? Because anyasya chittam abhisancharinyam. It is a reality, but it has motion. Abhisancharinyam. It has a motion, it is movable. Abhisancharinyam, it is movable. Anyasa chittam. In the consciousness of another. This is the surprising statement. There is only one, is neither here nor tomorrow. It is adbhutam. It has a motion in the consciousness of another. Now from where another has come? It is that another sancharinyam, what is moving, that is eternal, emotionless, this is moving. It is a reality which is eternal, yet it has a motion. But motion in consciousness of another, and that another is not other than itself, because there is only one reality. It is such a reality that it is capable of another. Now, how is it that reality, because ordinarily in our consciousness, one is one and not two. Our definition of one is one that is not two. Therefore, our ordinary intelligence will not understand. Therefore, it says, utadhitam vinashyati. If you try to think of it, it will disappear. It's unthinkable. This is the truth which is also described in the Upanishads in many ways. It cannot be described, it cannot be thought over. The intellect comes back, the words come back from it. Utadhitam vinashyati. Now, this is a statement, one of the most profound statements in the Veda, which describes the ultimate reality. Ultimate reality, and this concept of one that is two has continuously been repeated in our Indian thought. The one that is two is also the concept of Shiva Shakti. Shakti is not different from Shiva. Shiva himself is Shakti, and yet you cannot say Shiva is Shakti or Shakti is Shiva. The Shiva has a motion through Shakti. It has a motion in another. Shiva himself is absolutely in meditation, static. But it has a motion. Shiva himself has a motion. Motion because of the Shakti, which is himself, and yet other than himself. This is another concept which has ruled our Indian thought throughout, but derived from the Veda. We speak of Ardhanarveshwara. It's also the same. Same reality is, however, half. Other half is other than himself. It is also anyasya chittam abhisancharenyam. We have also the concept of Radha and Krishna. Krishna and Radha are one, and yet they are two. Sri Aurobindo has written a big poem, as you know, epic called Savitri. In that epic, there is one special canto which is only given, a title is Secret Knowledge. Its title is Secret Knowledge. And what is the content of secret knowledge? It is the knowledge of he and she. That is to say that there is a supreme reality, and the secret knowledge is that there is in him another, who is himself. Now this peculiar condition of existence, which is not thinkable, but such is the notion, such is the reality. If intellect asks the question, how is it so? How can it be? It cannot be. The answer is, if reality is like that, what can you do about it? You may think it cannot be. If I think that Akhilesh cannot be in New York at this very moment, and yet I say I see him in New York, and you say, how can he be? But supposing I see him, at the same time I see him there, what can I say? I say, yeah, he's there also and here also. And yogis have seen many things of this kind. They see some object here, but also there, in many other planes of consciousness. Such is the reality. Reality is of such a nature, and this is a secret knowledge of the Veda, that reality is something very surprising. It is adbhutam. It's not an ordinary existence of this paper or this book or this flower. It is of such a nature that being himself is other than himself. And being other than himself, it is still himself. There are many deeper truths underlying this idea of himself being other than himself. In fact, many metaphysicians have rejected this idea. In the philosophy of Shankara, for example, this idea that reality, being himself, is other than himself, he said that which is other than himself may be true, but it is maya, it is illusion, it is not true. But the Veda doesn't say that the other one is untrue. I mean, there is no statement in the whole of Veda. You read the whole of the Veda, you have never found that which is other than himself is maya according to the Veda. Metaphysically, you may do anything and you may develop it in any way you like. Anyway, this is the starting point of the Vedic description of ultimate reality. Ultimate reality is a very surprising existence, which you cannot imagine ordinarily by mere understanding of the world as it is. Fine. Now this reality is, according to the Veda, is the abode. It is the highest abode. It is also described as an ocean. That reality is an ocean, supreme. It is superconscient, you might say, which is different from two other oceans, also which you find in the world. There is an ocean which is connected with the heart, and there is an ocean of the present level of what we call conscious existence.